Alright, what's going on, everybody? It's DAYYY Media coming at you with another video. You know what time it is. It's time to bring on that boxing. Today we're going to be talking about Dana White, the president of the UFC, one of the biggest organizations in the fight industry. Crazy, a very different sport from boxing, you could say. Many other aspects included in MMA than that of boxing, but very associated, still both combat sports. And Dana White, the president of the UFC, was asked about Jake Paul and kind of the cancellation of his fight with Asim Rahman Jr., which was originally scheduled for August 6th at the Mecca of Boxing, Madison Square Garden, where Dana White has pulled off multiple events. Most recently, the Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman fight that took place, I believe, in November, this past November. So Dana White was asked about Jake Paul, the condition, and they kind of asked Dana White, you think there was kind of like issues with selling tickets and stuff like that? And Dana kind of laughed and he said, I like how you reporters act like you don't know the answer to that. So obviously Dana White believes that Jake Paul wasn't able to sell tickets for his fight against Asim Rahman Jr., but he actually gave some words of advice. He said he has to get away from his current manager, who I believe was originally working for the UFC and kind of worked closely with Dana, and Dana was saying, he's just an accountant. He thinks that he could put on fights just because he worked with the UFC. Very touchy subject, but at the end of the day, maybe he's correct. Maybe Jake Paul has to find a better team who can do a better job of making sure that tickets get sold and these fights do take place and don't face cancellations, because Jake Paul had a lot of room to talk about other YouTubers or other boxing events that have failed in the past to kind of put on these boxing events, and then you see his event kind of falling through. Maybe it's not his fault. Maybe it's because Asim Rahman wasn't able to make the correct weight, but a pound and a half overweight is really not a big deal. And to cut a lot of weight in a short amount of time, that's literally boxing. Ask any boxer who has ask them what their toughest weight cut was. It's probably been worse than that. And for Asim Rahman, it was his first time even cutting weight. So there's a little bit of give and take in this scenario, because you have to also take into consideration that Rahman agreed to come in at a certain weight at 205, and then you see that he, even though it wasn't his this was his first time making weight, you have to expect as a professional to do your job. Maybe you get prepared even earlier, but then again, we had the Tommy Fury situation where it was kind of a short notice thing. They're moving dates closer, and it was just a tough situation in general for Rahman to make the weight. And I think Jake should have just taken the fight, because what's 1 pound gonna do? You throw in that rehydration clause, and then he rehydrates to what, like maybe 215, 220, something like that. That's literally how boxing is. It's not gonna be perfect. You can throw all these rehydration clauses, but then you're gonna make your pool for opponents even smaller, where you're not really going to have anybody to fight left. And as time goes on and as you become more and more inactive in the sport, people don't care anymore. They don't care to watch you fight. They're not itching to see you fight, especially if you're not a talent like a Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence, who comes off a big layoff and then goes in and straight fights guys without taking a tune-up, fights your Dennis Ugas, guys like Danny Garcia. Those aren't easy fights, and these guys take it because they're professionals and they believe in their talent. So if Jake wants to continue this persona of I'm the best, I can beat guys like Canelo, obviously there are levels to that, but he has to start showing it, and showing it soon, or else people are going to start losing attention, or he has to do something big to gain the eyes of the people in a big way. If anyone can do it, it's Jake Paul, because we all know he's a master marketer. He's a smart guy, and he'll figure it out. But at the end of the day, he's going to have to make a decision, because he's going to have to decide whether or not he wants to continue to fight these, influencers or washed up UFC fighters, or UFC fighters who weigh less or can't necessarily throw a punch or box. They're more MMA orientated. Then stay in that lane. Or if you want to get into the boxing world, fight guys like Badu Jack. I'm sure you're close friends with him. There are a lot of guys that you could fight that are willing to take it in the boxing world. They all want to fight you because they want that payday. So make your decision wisely. Jake Paul, we'll see what he does next. We're always keeping eyes on Jake Paul, because whether you like it or not, he is getting a lot of attention in the boxing combat sports worlds. So can't knock it. He's making moves. So respect to Jake. So I'll keep you guys updated with any intel I get regarding Jake Paul. But I want to thank you guys for watching. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you for the constant support. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.